For Pacifica Radio, I'm Scott Baba. Israeli jets struck a residential building in central Beirut today and issued new evacuation orders for 20 buildings in the Lebanese capital's southern suburbs. The strike leveled the building in central Beirut's Basta neighborhood, the second strike in recent days in the crowded area near the city's downtown. There were no immediate reports of casualties. It was not immediately clear if anyone in particular was targeted, though Israel says its airstrikes target Hezbollah officials and assets. In a signal of more strikes to come, an Israeli military spokesperson issued evacuation warnings for 20 buildings in the southern Beirut suburbs, as well as a warning for the southern town of Nakura, where the United Nations peacekeeping mission known as UNIFIL is headquartered. The Beirut strike came hours before Israel's security cabinet was scheduled to meet to vote on a U.S.-brokered ceasefire deal aimed at ending more than a year of fighting between Israel and the Lebanese Hezbollah militant group. Hopes have risen for the possible ceasefire deal, which calls for a 2-month initial halt in fighting and would require Hezbollah to end its armed presence in a broad swath of southern Lebanon, while Israeli troops would return to their side of the border as well. Israel's security cabinet is expected to approve the proposal, which Lebanese officials have said Hezbollah also supports. The European Union's top diplomat, Josep Borrell, said today that Israel's security concerns had been addressed in the U.S.-French brokered deal.
On Lebanon, there is no excuses for a ceasefire. On the proposal agreement brokered by the U.S. and France, Israel has all security concerns. There is not an excuse for not implementing a ceasefire. Otherwise, Lebanon will fall apart.
U.S. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller said the deal is not done yet. And given how negotiations with Israel over a Gaza ceasefire went, the situation could change quickly.
Many times when we thought we were going to be getting to yes, in both cases, and for various reasons, the parties didn't get there. Nothing's final until everything is final.
Protesters demanding the release of jailed Pakistani opposition leader Imran Khan clashed with security forces in Islamabad, leaving 6 dead amid escalating unrest. Charles de Ledesma reports.
Supporters seeking the release of imprisoned Pakistani former Premier Imran Khan broke through a ring of shipping containers, locking down the capital Islamabad, while at least 6 people have died in protest-related violence. Protesters battled security forces, ignoring a government threat to respond with gunfire. The dead included 4 members of the services and 1 civilian, who were killed when a vehicle ran them on a street. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has denounced the attack, saying an anarchist group was deliberately targeting law enforcement personnel. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
President-elect Donald Trump is threatening to impose sweeping new tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China as soon as he takes office, as part of his efforts to crack down on illegal immigration and drugs. He said he would impose a 25% tax on all products entering the country from Canada and Mexico, and an additional 10% tariff on goods from China as one of his first executive orders. The tariffs, if implemented, could dramatically raise prices for American consumers on everything from gas to automobiles to agricultural products. The U.S. is the largest importer of goods in the world, with Mexico, China, and Canada its top 3 suppliers. Yesterday, the Chinese embassy in Washington released a statement urging Trump to rethink his plans, saying that neither country would win a trade war. Laura Westbrook reports.
The spokesman for the Chinese embassy in the U.S., Liu Pengyu, said economic and trade cooperation between the U.S. and China is mutually beneficial. No one will win a trade war or a tariff war, he said. Now, Trump said he would impose the additional tariffs until China stops the flow of illegal drugs, particularly fentanyl, into the United States. Beijing says it's taken steps to combat drug trafficking. Analysts say it's unclear whether Trump will follow through on the promise or use it as a negotiating tactic. Laura Westbrook, Hong Kong.
Millions of obese Americans would be eligible to have popular weight loss drugs like Wegovy or Ozempic covered by Medicare or Medicaid under a new rule the Biden administration proposed this morning. The proposal, which would not be finalized until after President-elect Donald Trump takes office, could cost taxpayers as much as $35 billion over the next decade. It would give millions of people access to weekly injectables that have helped people shed pounds so quickly that some people have labeled them miracle drugs. I'm Scott Baba for Pacifica Radio.